Dave, just how do you think fall ball's gone overall? If you could kind of give us a overall picture, without going, too crazy.
It's been really good. I think it's probably one of the better falls we've ever had, and I think contributing to that would be the fact that we didn't play a full season in the spring, and the guys were just really into it. A lot of times after a long season, and maybe you finish in June or late June, guys go out and play a little summer ball. They're kind of tired when they get back. We did have some guys go out, play summer ball and did a really nice job there. But there was a lot that didn't, and they just worked out and tried to train on their own. I think that I just felt like, from the players, well, really from the coaching staff on down, there was a lot of energy. Guys were showing up with a great attitude every day. I think they felt very fortunate to be out there on a baseball field.
Hutch?
Dave, who would you say maybe has been the biggest surprise of fall so far?
Well, I mean, when you say surprise, I guess you're kind of asking me maybe who has improved the most, or maybe was a little better than we thought they were. We probably have a few that fall in there, but we have a little freshman catcher, Dylan Leach, that skipped a senior year of high school to come in here. Was planning on doing that, I guess, early in the summer, late spring, and then Opitz came back. Didn't sway him a bit. His attitude and opinion was, I'm just going to learn from him. Wasn't all about playing time this first year, and he's really improved his catching skills. Has a very good arm, very accurate. He's done a nice job. He's a switch hitter. He walks a lot, which is good for a young player. He's not getting as many hits as he would like, but he's taken a lot of walks. Now, I did tweak his arm the other day, so now that I'm telling you all this, he's probably not going to play in this series, and he was scheduled to be the starting catcher on the opposite team of Opitz. So we made a few adjustments there, but he's really improved position player wise. A player that we didn't have eligible to play last year, Cullen Smith, had a tremendous fall offensively. He's playing a little bit everywhere for us. Cullen's situation was he was an all-conference player. And I can't remember exactly what, university he transferred in for. I think it was it was over in Tennessee. I want to say the wrong school, but he left there after his junior year and just decided he wanted to play in the SEC and was going to sit a year. And he sat last year, and he's worked hard, got his body in great shape, and he's probably led our team in hitting all fall. But he can play first, second, third, probably play some outfield. Just having a really good fall. So on the position player side, those are probably a couple. One that's been in the program, one that came in the program, and then some of the guys that have been here have definitely gotten better, bigger, stronger. On the pitching side of it, there's a lot of guys that have made a jump, velocity wise, just natural being around the guys, relaxing, maturity wise, have gotten a lot better. So probably too many to mention, but most everybody's gotten better. I don't feel like any of the pitchers have gone backwards at all, and I feel like for the most part with the returners, we're very healthy as of now.
Nate?
Dave, just what are you doing with Moore? Is he playing more short or second, and kind of how's all that working out?
Well, Robert can play either short or second, third. He could probably play center field, but he's been working at short all fall because we already know he can play second. I played him second in 2 scrimmages. With Jalen Battles making it to school, he's a shortstop that we got out of McLean Community College down in Texas. we didn't know if Jalen would make it to school with a 5-round draft. Obviously he did. And, I can play either one of those guys at short. I'd say probably having Robert at second makes us a better team, just because he turns a double play so well. Had a couple of scrimmages where I've had those guys together and put Robert at second, and they've turned some really good double plays. Been fun to watch. But either way there with Robert. But Jalen's mostly a shortstop, a little taller, lanky, although he can play a really good second. If we have an injury or somebody needs a day off, whoever we end up playing at short, it's not gonna take us back at all.
Matt.
Dave, you've got starters listed for the first 5 games of the fall series. Are those the 10 pitchers that you're kind of looking at as your potential starters, or are there others who you don't have listed there that you're maybe looking at?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to get too deep into that. Let you talk to Coach Hobbs about the pitchers. I've always been the type of guy that I don't mess with our coaches so to speak, in the fall. I just let them coach, and they tell me who they want to start or bring out of the pen or try to close. Or I'm not going to question them one bit. Now, obviously, when it gets closer time to the real games, I'm going to state my opinion, and we'll discuss all that. But I would say right now that's the way we see it. But there's some guys coming out of that pen that we would have no problem starting in a game. And, the way this season could end up being scheduled, so to speak, it might stay the same. It might change. It might be more SEC games, less out of conference games, just so we can control our own destiny, so to speak, the SEC. We're going to need a lot of pitching. And, they make us play 4 games on a weekend and you're talking a lot of arms. So, we're trying to prepare for that if that happens. So I know I got around your question a little bit, but for the most part, those would be the guys we're looking to start. But there's also been a couple of guys that maybe aren't penciled to start that have a chance to start because they've been injured or they're young, or we're just watching them a little bit more. But we've got some good young arms in here that are going to compete to get on that mound at the beginning of the game.
Jason.
Hey, Coach, I wonder about the competition, just, position players, pitchers, how it's been with the numbers. You talked about how this fall's been better than some in the past. So I just wonder the competition there. And then as you kind of look about how you're going to build your roster for the spring, kind of how much goes into what this next 7 games are like as you build towards that roster.
Yeah, well, the roster, there's 5 or 6 more guys than we normally would have in here. Because of the shortened draft, we got some older kids back. We also we might have kept a player or 2 that came out of high school or junior college, maybe 3. It's hard to say, because coming out of high school, kids will tell you they're not going to sign for X amount of dollars, and sometimes that changes. But they're here. So fall went well for a few reasons. Number one, the competition, the numbers. The numbers were in the pitching. I mean, as far as position players, we had about the same amount we normally have, right about the perfect number where we could have scrimmages where we didn't have to put either a pitcher in a position or, bring somebody up the other team, just keep rotating to fill an outfield spot or an infield spot because we just didn't have enough position players to have 2 full teams out there. We pretty much had that covered when we had everyone and didn't have anybody banged up. So the competition has been incredible. You got some young guys that when they get here, they realize once they get here that the older kids are pretty good. And, you kind of see the ups and downs of the freshmen. Sometimes they question themselves, am I going to get to play this year? But as time goes on, they start to realize that, it's a process and they're going to get where they need to get. I feel like that, as far as pitching competition, it's been second to none. You got guys that were conference starters, 2 years ago and last year that are battling to try to get on the mound and start. which is a good issue, a good problem for us because it gives us depth and competition amongst teammates is probably what can really, really, push your team forward, so to speak, where the, guys they feel like they've got to continue to work hard and stay dedicated every day or they're going to lose their job. And I've really seen the pitching staff just kind of build. It's going to be tough to figure out who we're going to travel with our pitching staff because when you get past number 10 or 11, there's a lot of good pitchers there that, they just need an opportunity, I think. And but at the end of the year, we're going to lose a lot of people off this roster. Probably 20. There could be 15 to 20 kids in a normal draft would get drafted and sign, and with 20 rounds, and they may go 25 of what I've heard. They keep messing with it, but we're going to need all these guys in the future. But the competition's been incredible. And I don't remember exactly what your second part of that question was.
I just didn't know like how many guys you're trying to carry and
Yeah.
what the roster kind of looks like as you get through this series and how you put it together after the series.
Yeah, we've told the kids that this series is important because there's still some guys that we're trying to figure it out a little bit, but they need to make a jump or move in front of some people. And, it's the last time they have a chance to really impress us and show their teammates and the coaches what they can do in this type situation. A lot of times, there's the guys that are pretty good in practice every day and they look good, but you get them in the game and it doesn't happen. And those are the kind of guys that, in the long run, they've got to get it done in the game because they can fool you and it doesn't go so well. So we're looking for gamers, so to speak, and maybe over this series, we'll have a guy or two jump out there that you're going, wow, man, when you turn the lights on, this guy showed up. He's pretty good. And there's some other guys that are on the fence right now, whether they need to be here or they need to go play in a junior college and get at bats or whatever the situation may be. And those are mostly guys that have been in the program for a year or two and haven't played much. They need to make a move so we know that it's the right thing to keep them here. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's better for them to go get some at bats or pitch.
All right, let me know if you've got more questions in the chat. Bob?
Yeah, Dave, sounds like obviously you're settled at catcher with Casey and middle infield. What are things looking like at first and third and in the outfield? Kind of what's the depth at those positions? Who are you looking maybe to start or fight for starting jobs?
Well, obviously, Opitz, he's as good as it gets in the country, and he's a man amongst boys right now. We could play him at third, second, first. The guy's just a great baseball player. Seems to be getting better with the bat, and I think credit to him is he pretty much got a gut punch when he didn't get drafted in the first 5 rounds. I felt horrible for him. I told him we were all mixed emotions. We wanted him back, but we wanted him for him personally have that opportunity to sign, and we're just so happy that he's here. We just hope there's a reason. We hope he's a high pick, and he can lead us into something special in 21 because he's definitely our leader on the field and in that locker room. And I think everybody sees it and knows it. But just love his attitude. He's been good because he could have come back in here and just been poor old me, and I shouldn't be here, and he hadn't been that way at all, which has been great to see. Same old Casey, friendly and leading, and it's been fun. As far as the middle infielder, I already mentioned, Moore and Battles. Those guys can really play, but we've had some good young players that are battling as well that are going to learn and get some opportunity. And first base, Goodhart is one of the top hitters in the league. He's been a little banged up the last week, but as a matter of fact, we didn't put him on a team, but he may end up playing for one game for one team and one game for another. If we need to get him some at bats, just DH. But defensively, he's fielding the ball well. The arm is still struggling a little bit. We could go with 3 or 4 other guys over there. We have a transfer in here, Brady Slavens, who's really had a good fall offensively that can play third, second, or first. He's a tall kid, hits left-handed. We could put Caden Wallace over there. We can put Helen Smith over there. We're fine. And I think we'll go with a hot hitter. We'll just see how that plays he's out. You know, third base, there's not a better defensive third baseman in the country than Jacob Nesbitt. I mean, the kid's just smooth and accurate, and he hasn't had a great fall with the bat. He did have to miss a little bit of time with COVID, just because he didn't have it, but he was around it, so we had to quarantine him a little bit and trying to get him going again. Hopefully, he'll have a good series. But we could also play Brady Slavens over there, Caden Wallace over there. I mean, we have interchangeable type guys, and but if we have our best infield defensively out there, I would question that there would be a better defensive infield in the country than ours when we have our starters out there as of now. As far as the outfield goes, I mean, Christian Franklin, he is the real deal, and what a great kid. I mean, just love being around him. Conversations with him are awesome. I feel like I'm talking to a full-grown man, and smart, really good defender, and offensively, I mean, he can beat you with an infield hit, but he can also hit a ball 450 feet, and that's a good combination. And he's a very good center fielder, as you know. And then Braden Webb, who got off to a slow start last year, but you look at it, he ended up hitting around 300, but it didn't seem like it. He got off to another slow start this fall, but he's been tearing it up lately. I think he had 2 home runs in one game and hit another ball that would have been out but the wind was blowing in that day. And he's penciled in left, and then right field's wide open right now. I mean, you could put 5 guys out there. Zach Gregory, left-handed hitter, has had a good fall. Had some really good days, had some days not so good. You could put Caden Wallace out there to get that bat in there. He's got a lot of power. He's also an infielder. Brady Slavens could play out there. I mean, there's other guys who could play out there. It's just a matter of hitting. Bryce Matthews is a guy that we were hoping that would play out there, but he struggled this fall. But we'll see if he can have a good series. So, that's what it's looking like a little bit. And there's more guys. I didn't mention 3 or 4 guys that are gonna make an impact with the team throughout this season.
Hutch?
Dave, I noticed Hunter Milligan wasn't listed on the rosters that Kyle sent out. What's his status?
He's had another injury with his shoulder. It's just never recovered. But it's really not yet another injury. So he's done. He came in the other day and talked to us, and he's had surgery in high school, couple since then, and now they're saying he needs to have another one. And I think he's about had enough of it, and I don't blame him. What a great kid too, and I feel bad for him that he never got to, show us what he could do here. It started in high school, and when you hurt that shoulder, it's the shoulder, and then he's hurt the elbow. He's had the elbow fixed, had the shoulder fixed. What a talent coming out of high school as a young player. It's just never happened. Really, really heartbreaking, honestly.
Nate?
I'm good. I'm fine.
Matt?
Hey, Dave, when I've talked to your players this fall, they've said Kevin Kopps really looks a lot different. What have you seen from him?
Yeah, I think the first thing you're going to notice about him is he's kind of trimmed up a little bit. Kevin's extremely strong, and he might have got a little bit too bulky, or just, I don't know. He just really looks good. He looks fit, but he's keeping the ball down. And Kevin's issue is when he throws that cutter, and it comes out of his hand, and it looks like it's mid thigh, and it ends up being down just a little below the knee. He's nasty. And the last year and a half, it just seemed like he was throwing everything that would start up higher and end up being belt high, and he got hit. And now he's living where he needs to live, and that's below the belt. And then way down there, I mean, that ball's just running from guys. And velocity's up, command's better. Just had a really good fall so far. And if he can take that into the spring, I mean, he would be a weapon. We could use him out of the pen. We could start him, but I think it'd be great if we could use him, who knows, in a 60, 70 game season. Hopefully, if he was out of the pen, he could get on the mound 30 times. I don't know. I mean, it could be good.
Jason.
Coach, I just wonder how important or how big it is to have this series starting on Sunday on, games 2 through 6 or 2 through 7 on the internet and people to watch them, because the disconnect that you guys have had as a program with the fans because of COVID.
Yeah, I think it's really big. I'm just really happy that this is all happening really for the parents, because the parents haven't been able to come around and watch their sons play. And, it's just, it's different. Everything's different right now. And, they'll get an opportunity to tune in. And, for the most part, with the teams divided up, position player wise, they're going to be on the field. To get to see some of that. And I think the kids are excited about it, just so that family and friends can watch them play a little bit. And, and then just for our program, you get an opportunity to get some cameras out here and see the field and this new facility that's going up. That's incredible, and how it's changed the look of the ballpark, and probably even how the ballpark plays a little bit, with certain winds being knocked down. Balls are jumping out of the park probably better than ever now. When the wind's not blowing or blowing out, it's flying pretty good. But even when it's on a day when it's blowing in, if they still can drive that ball through that wind with that building block, and as tall as it is, I mean, it's as tall as our scoreboard, and it's a really good look. So I just think just exposure, it's a good thing for us.
Coach.
Dave, I had a couple of questions about your a freshman pitcher. So Jackson Wiggins, I noticed he's one of the guys listed to start. What has he done this fall to earn that start? And then also Nate Wolgamuth, I believe is how you say his name. He's listed as a pitcher and an outfielder. Is he going to try to two-way this season?
Okay, first on Wiggins. Wiggins has a special gift. He's got an incredible arm, and big kid, very athletic, was a really good basketball player, 6'6". I don't think he's done growing. He plays catch. It looks like he's just playing catch at about 95. Has a plus changeup. He has a really good curveball when he's got it going. Has a chance to be a starter here as a freshman. We haven't had too many of those over the last 10 years. But then again, if you're the best or you're hard to hit, he's quick to the plate. If he can manage a running game, and really, to me, it's not about the athletic ability with him or the talent of being able to throw that baseball. It's more about just if he's mature enough to handle it as a freshman at this level where our program is. But he's deserved that opportunity to start. And then Nate Wolgamuth has tremendous arm as well. Nate's one of those guys that hasn't been able to get on the field too much because, COVID-19, and missed 2 weeks. About the first day he gets back ready to go, he twists his ankle pretty severely, missed another 2 or 3 weeks. He just got on the mound in a scrimmage 1 inning last week for the first time. And this is one of our top pitcher recruits. He has starter potential, and starter potential as a freshman. So he's not going to be hitting with us because he's too far behind. Obviously, coming out of high school, he was center fielder, athletic kid, big arm. We're going to give him that opportunity. But once you get in here and you start seeing everything, and where he's going to help us this year is on the mound. So, he's good with that. That's what he wants. He's got to try to play catch up right now because of the innings lost this fall, where he can be ready to go and get after it come springtime on that mound.
Matt.
I'm good. I appreciate it.
Bob.
Hey, Dave, what kind of fall is Connor Nolan had? Is he kind of taking that next step, or is he your clear number one, or how's he doing?
Connor is he's doing really well, really strong, and throws a lot of strikes. And he's not our clear number one. We don't have a clear number one yet. He's just one of many that are really good. And I wouldn't say he's taking a step back, but I'm not going to tell you he's throwing 95 either. But he sure is pitching well. Hopefully he'll have a good outing in the series, and he's battling to pitch on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. And but I would see, if we started tomorrow, I mean, he's probably in that rotation. I would say he's in the rotation. He earned that right. So, but I think he realizes there's a lot of competition, and like I said, it's making all these guys work.
Hutch, you got one more?
Yeah, Dave, Vermillion, he's getting a start in the series, and I've also read where you're going to give him a shot as a starter. What went into that decision, and what have you seen from him this fall?
Well, his stuff is really good. And obviously, when we signed him out of high school, we wanted him to be a starter here, and setback here, setback there, little tweak there, hamstring. I mean, there was always little issues, but he's been building up all summer to try to be a starter. He pitched, I think, 4 or 5 innings the other day. The first inning, we scored a run on him. The next 3 innings, we didn't touch him. 95-mile-an-hour fastball with a nasty cutter / slider, whatever you want to call it. It looks like a changeup sometimes. I mean, it is some good stuff. Now, if he's our Friday guy and he can give us 5, 6, 7 innings on Fridays, that's what we'll do. But he's another guy that, he would be great at the end of the game, but don't be surprised if you don't see him start.
All right. Thanks, Coach Van Horn.
Okay.